So with A-Day tomorrow, there is no shortage of excitement in Tuscaloosa and for Alabama fans everywhere. But today, we need to break down why the game is not the only reason why you need to be excited, as Alabama is set to host some of high school football's top prospects, and today we need to break it all down. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill, I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes, N for no. Do you believe we'll see some impressive plays during A-Day? And then, let me know what you're excited to see. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below, as those interactions may seem small. They truly are massive to content creators such as myself, and both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And I want to begin with guys that are already a part of Alabama's class, both in terms of 2024 guys and 2025 guys. Because we have names such as Ryan Williams, Noah Carter, Amari Jefferson attending, as well as guys such as Duke Johnson and Derek Smith, who both of those names are a part of the 2025 class. And the reason why that moves me, the reason why that gets me so excited is quite simple. It's something we talk about all the time. It's easier to relate to your peers. I give this example all the time whenever we talk about recruiting. In college, whenever you're getting tutored, more than likely, your tutor isn't a professor. Your tutor is a student, whether that be a student that's in their undergraduate years or their graduate years. Nonetheless, it's easier to relate to peers. And so while this Alabama staff is no question doing a great job at building relationships, maintaining relationships, it's even better if you can have that along with recruits, their peers, also talking up the situation. And I think when you mix it all, that's when you can get some really exciting results. And we can go back and talk about several players for Alabama during their recruiting years that were ace recruiters for the Tide. A Jalen Mbakwe instantly comes to mind. A Richard Young instantly comes to mind, just to name two. So whenever we look at this situation, there's a lot for Alabama fans to be excited about. And especially, like we said, you have Duke Johnson, who, per the 24/7 Sports Composite, is a five-star player. Many of you have asked, when is Alabama going to get their five-star? Well, this staff already has their five-star defensive player, as Duke Johnson comes in, once again, per the 24/7 Sports Composite, as the number 25 player in the nation. A fantastic win, and somebody who I am really excited is there to be in these other recruits' ears. But who are the other names we need to be on the lookout for? We're going to start on the offensive line with Michael Carroll, who comes in as the number 238 player in the nation, the number 14 interior offensive lineman, and the number 8 in the state of Pennsylvania. And this is an area we've talked about. I'm really interested to see what Coach Cap is able to do in terms of offensive line recruiting, because there are several big names in this class along the offensive line that you would love to add in. We talked not long ago about an Andrew Babalola who really enjoyed his visit. His relationship stems back to Washington with Kalen DeBoer, and that's a unique situation for Alabama. One thing we've talked about frequently as it relates to recruiting in the Crimson Tide is that Alabama is in the makeup stage of a lot of relationships. I mean, you look at guys being recruited by, say, a Texas, Ole Miss, and Georgia, and for the most part at all three of those schools, you have continuity, especially in terms of continuity at the head coach. Yes, some assistant coaches, some position coaches may have moved on, but the head guy is still the same, and much of the staff is still the same. Alabama's going through a massive transition in terms of their coaching staff, and they are doing a phenomenal job at building these relationships up really quickly. So it's really interesting when you have a recruit like an Andrew Babalola, whose relationship stems back a few years with a Kalen DeBoer. That is intriguing to me, but so too is a Michael Carroll. This is a guy that Alabama fans everywhere would be overjoyed if he adds himself into this class. We heard Kalen DeBoer talk the other day and say that there were two areas that they would probably look to add in more depth via the transfer portal: offensive line and defensive back. Well, one of the ways you can start answering that, though not for the upcoming season, for the future, is in recruiting. Because recruiting is how you build championships. The transfer portal can help add into what you already have, but I am of the belief that you want to do the majority of your building via recruiting, and that's why I'd be so excited if Michael Carroll was to jump on board. We continue down, staying in the trenches, but just switching sides to the defense, where a Josiah Sharma, someone who we've talked about before on this channel, someone who those of you who have heard me talk about Sharma will know I'm really high on him. He's a defensive lineman from California. Depending on where you look, is going to change his rating. I'm going to be shocked if he's not a composite 4-star guy, top 200 prospect in the nation, because I am really high on his game. He stands 6'5", 295 pounds, and is from California. And this is going to be an interesting battle. I think Alabama sits in a really good position, and this is a guy I would really like to see add into this class. Those of you who have watched me will know I'm very excited about the interior defensive line for the Crimson Tide in the 2024 season, but there's no doubt, if you want to continue that success, you continue successfully recruiting top prospects. Sharma is one of those guys. We continue on. We talk about a Justin Hill, the number 125 player in the nation, the number 12 edge in the nation, and top 10 player in the state of Ohio. And this is an area where Alabama has been able to stack talent. Last year, I was on record saying I thought that was the most talented room in all of college football. You had Dallas Turner. You had Chris Braswell. You had Yonze Pierre. You had Keon Keeley. You had Quindarius Robinson. You had Keanu Cott. You had Quay Russo. I mean, that room is so loaded. And even though Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell move on to the NFL, it's still loaded. You get guys in the 2024 class like Ja'Shawn Ross, Noah Carter, who are going to make waves once they get their opportunity. I truly believe Noah Carter is one of those guys that if you give him an inch of opportunity, he's going to take a mile, and it's going to be really hard to get him off the football field. So very excited to see what Alabama continues to do on that front. Continuing on the defensive side of the ball, we have a guy that's actually predicted to go to Alabama, Jaden Harmon, the linebacker from Rome, Georgia. And many of you will be wondering, man, Alabama's taking a lot of linebackers. Why is that? Well, first and foremost, in this new defense, I think they're really excited about how Kane Womack is going to be able to utilize the linebackers. Secondly, whenever you look at some of the guys already in this class for Alabama, their versatility is what stands out. The fact that they can be kind of gadget players. A Duke Johnson comes to mind, where that guy could play any number of positions and do so at a very high level. There's a reason why, even though he's listed as a linebacker, he's more aptly listed as an athlete. He is a player we're all going to be very excited to see, but it makes sense to me why Alabama is trying to build up their recruiting, especially with these linebackers. And like I said, Jaden Harmon has a prediction per on 3 for Alabama to be the destination. This could be a big visit that could result in a commitment. Remains to be seen, but something we'll be watching for. We move back to the offensive side of the ball with a Nashawn Montgomery, a top 130 player in all of high school football, regardless of position, specifically per the 24/7 Sports Composite, coming in at the number 129 in the nation, the number 16 wide receiver, and a top player in the state of Florida, which is always a state absolutely loaded with talent. Now, this is an area I'm not worried about in the slightest for the Crimson Tide, is wide receiver recruiting. Why? Well, first and foremost, we talk about the offense these wide receivers will be playing in. Look no further than Washington and how many wide receivers got active there. 2, you look at the talent at the quarterback position for Alabama, where it's just not one guy. There are 4 guys on this roster that other colleges would love to have. And because of that, I think if you're a wide receiver, you have far fewer questions as to what the offense is going to look like. You look at Kalen DeBoer, you look at Nick Sheridan, you look at what they've done in the past. That's enticing. You look at the quarterbacks, and even if you're not a guy that will be on campus for another year, you're like, okay, well, they still have Ty Simpson. They still have Austin Mack. They have Dylan Lonergan, and they're really working to flip a Juju Lewis. The quarterback position is looking very good. And finally, you have Jamarcus Shepard, a name that I have no doubt will be a household name across college football at the end of this season, because now he is on a massive platform and he is already making waves on the recruiting front, let alone what he has done in terms of developing wide receivers. So I have no doubt that Alabama is going to get their fair share of wide receivers and have really exciting prospects. In fact, a name that may not be attending A-Day, but I'm really excited to see if Alabama will be the destination, is Lotzier Brooks, wide receiver from New Jersey, who is an absolute phenom. Yes, he's a 3-star. You turn on the film, you come back to me, and you tell me if he should be a 3-star. And that's not just for Alabama fans. That's for anybody that may see this video, come in here and say, oh, Alabama's just getting 3 stars now. Go watch Brooks's film. Come back to this video and let me know what you think. Even if you don't like Alabama, I'm sure if you're operating in the interest of fairness and objectivity, you're going to say, yeah, you were right about him. That cat should be a high-ranking 4-star. He is elite. Brooks may not be a 6'5" wide receiver. He stands 5'10", 185 pounds, but he has got so much speed and quickness. It's one thing to see a wide receiver that has short area quickness. We've seen that before. We've seen that from multiple different players. It helps you gain separation at the early stages of your route. But he also has long speed. This is a guy that has a sub 11 second 100-meter dash before he got to high school. This is a guy that's been clocked at over 22 miles per hour, and Alabama fans everywhere would be very happy if they got him in this class. The final name we're going to talk about may not be a 2025 recruit, but nonetheless, still a massive name you need to know about. And that's Dia Bell, 2026 quarterback who will likely be a composite 5-star, meaning every recruiting service will have him as a 5-star if I had to guess. He plays for American Heritage, and he is uber talented. His skill set fits the Kalen DeBoer offense, in my opinion, and because of that, I'm really intrigued to see how Alabama is able to move the needle during this visit. But I'm interested in hearing from all of you. Hop down to the comments, let me know the prospects you're excited about, but also let me know what you're looking for during A-Day. That's it. See ya.